And joining us now to discuss the breaking news out of Iran is Independent Senator Angus King of Maine. He caucuses with Democrats and serves on the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. Senator, as you watch that piece, I just wonder what was going through your mind and what you think the U.S. should do.
Well, it's beyond shocking. I mean, and I don't think there are any countries in the world where the gap between the people and the government is greater. You've got a pretty educated, modernized, Western-leaning society in Iran and a 14th century theocratic government. And this is a dramatic uprising, probably bigger than it has ever been before. The challenge for us is to help. Obviously, our hearts are with those protesters, and we want to help in some way, but the challenge that the president faces is we don't want to give the regime a pretext for saying, oh, this isn't a real indigenous organic protest. It's being sponsored by out of the country forces like the United States, which they will use as a scapegoat. So the president has to have a rather fine line, I think. How do we help? How do we facilitate the freeing of the Iranian people without it looking like the Americans are doing something in their own interest?
Because the concern would be Iran could use that pretext to be even more brutal against the protesters, right?
Correct.
If it believes that. So I wonder what you think about what the president has been saying. He has said that the U.S. will take action if the Iranians kill or execute protesters. Well, now the number is high, right?
That's right.
It's in the thousands based on what we believe we know, although it's hard to independently verify given the blackout there in Iran. What window of time do you think the president has to take action?
Well, I think this hanging that was talked about may be a trigger that he feels he can't wait any longer because it's so public. And if that takes place, I think he's sort of hemmed in. He's made these statements, very strong statements over the last 3 or 4 days. And again, I don't think anybody disagrees with the idea of trying to somehow protect and help these protesters. But again, the question is how to do it in such a way that it doesn't backfire and end up enabling or strengthening the regime.
I'm going to turn to Greenland. Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are meeting at the White House today with the Danish and Greenland officials. You actually co-chair the Senate Arctic Caucus. Is there a world where the U.S. ends up acquiring Greenland from Denmark?
There's no earthly reason we need to do so. The argument that the administration has been making is national security, which is complete nonsense. We've had a major base in Greenland for 75 years, since 1951. The treaty that established that base also gives us wide latitude to have additional national security assets in Greenland. And by the way, Lisa Murkowski, Senator from Alaska, and I are meeting with those same Danish officials this afternoon. I consider the White House meeting a warm-up for the meeting with us, but that's different. But in any case, this national security argument it's hollow. It doesn't make sense. You don't have to own real estate in order to have a national security asset. The Danes and the Greenlanders have made it clear, and we'll confirm this afternoon, that they're open to additional assets, whether it's a port facility, radar, part of the Golden Dome, whatever. I don't think that's a problem. The best example is South Korea. We have a major presence, military presence, a base in South Korea near Seoul. It's there to deter North Korean adventurism and North Korean invasion of South Korea. We don't have to annex South Korea. Mm-hmm. And we've got military facilities. You mentioned on your report that we have facilities in Qatar, and the president is removing personnel. We don't own Qatar. The point is this idea that we have to own Greenland in order to protect the national security is just flat nonsense. And what bothers me about it is it's starting to feel like a pretext that all this stuff about Greenland isn't about national security, it's something else. And of course,
could that something else be?
Well, something else could be natural resources. I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago, it was all about we had to arrest Maduro because he was a drug kingpin. Within 24 hours, there was practically no talk about drugs, and it was all about oil. And it now looks like the kidnapping or the removal or the rendition, whatever you want to call it, of Maduro was more about getting access to the oil resources in Venezuela. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying it's suspicious because anybody that knows about the history of Greenland or national security arrangements in the Arctic knows that there is no earthly reason that we have to control all of Greenland in order to shore up our national security assets in the region.
All right, Senator Angus King, thank you for your time, and good luck with your meeting later today.
Thank you, Pamela.
Wolf?
Thanks from me as well. And there's more breaking news coming into the Situation Room. The